Today's episode of the Just Keep Swimming podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service offering over 10,000 books and the ability to listen to your favorite podcasts, including the Just Keep Swimming podcast. I personally use Audible all the time and suggest you take a listen to Intentional Living by John C. Maxwell. In this book, Mr. Maxwell shares his story on how he was able to live a noble and purposeful life and gives you tips and tricks so you can do the same. So please start your 30-day free trial now at www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast, all lowercase. Again, that is www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast. And if you have any more questions or concerns for the Just Keep Swimming podcast, you're always welcome to reach out to us on Facebook or at Instagram at justkkeepswimming_podcast, or you can email us at jkspodcast702@gmail.com. And with that out the way, let's dive into it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Just Keep Swimming podcast. This is your friend, your boy, your host, Mr. Adrian Jackson, and we back at it again with another great episode for you. And you already know who's with me. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mr. 1-3, dropping hot beats for the city as always. Check out his latest projects. He's actually going to jump in at the end of this episode to wrap it up for us. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're kind of going to continue on our B1 Pearl March Madness tournament topics, and today's topic is going to be it's going to be a little bit of two-parter, a little half and half. I want to start off by talking about knowing your competition, and then also talk about knowing your team. And I think this right here is going to be a great topic. So, earlier we kind of talked about, knowing yourself, knowing what skills you have, knowing your support system. But I think it's also super valuable to know your team. I played football for a very long time. And one thing we always did before the game for the week, even preparing for the week, was we watched film. Film study was very, very important because film study gave us the opportunity to see what the other team that we're about to play has been doing, so we can prepare for what they've been doing and adjust our game plan to, help them out, or not help them out, help us out, better stop them. And I think that right there is something that was like, at first I always thought it was annoying because, it sucks to sitting in the cold office watching film and coach rewind the play over and over and saying, hey, look at this, pay attention to that. And, in the back of your mind, you're like, I know this. It kind of feels like another class. But then as I got to my senior year and, I started taking the game a lot more seriously, I started to understand the value and importance of actually watching the film, because you get to see, one, their normal game plans, but then two, you get to see the things that the film study, it shows, but it doesn't point out unless you're paying attention, which is like the small little things that people do before certain stuff. Prime example, one game we played against Shadow Ridge, and they were pretty much known for doing screenplays. And watching the film study, I learned that every time before the screenplay would happen, the quarterback will look at the person he's about to throw the ball to about 2 or 3 times before saying hike. And it's usually unnatural, it's something that, all quarterbacks do. You see them as they walk out to the line of scrimmage, they look left, they look right, they look left, look right, then they hike the ball. But this dude, he'll look left, and then he'll look right for a long time, and then he'll look left, and then look right, and then right before the hike the ball, he'll just look the direction he's going to throw it, and then hike the ball. And I picked up on that. So when that play came around during the game, I picked up on that during film study. So when it happened during the game, I was able to see it right away. So the second the ball was hiked, I didn't even go into a back pedal. I just went straight to the receiver. And the second he caught the ball, I lit him up. You know what I'm saying? I took him out the game. The whole crowd went crazy. And it was like, great hit, Adrian, good job. But at the same time, it's like that would have never happened if I wasn't watching the film and seeing how people play and seeing how my competition played and understand what they were doing. And, it goes, it's a team sport. It also goes into basketball for sure. While I was in college, we played a lot of pickup ball, to keep yourself entertained. And, shout out my homie Owen. He was a great basketball player, super hooper in Vegas. He went up to Reno with us. And, I was able to, at first he was really hard for me to guard because he was so lanky and fast. But then I started to realize, his patterns. And I learned that every time before he shot the ball, he'll bring the ball down like between his legs almost to the ground, and then he'll pull up. So, me watching his patterns, I was able to find out how, to stop him from shooting. So every time before he shot, if I seen that he brought the ball down between his legs, I just put my hand in the middle between his arms. And 9 out of 10 times when he pulled up to shoot, my hand was already there and knocked the ball out his hands, But that came from me paying attention and watching and seeing what he's been doing and what's been messing me up, like, why can I stop this man? There has to be something I can do to stop him. And I think that right there is valuable. And, in everything we do, we always have to learn to pay attention to the competition, whether it's in video gaming, whether it's in life, whether it's with your bosses and stuff, Like, we all have jobs, or majority of us have jobs, and, you start to learn your boss's patterns. You learn when to present something to your boss and when not to present them, definitely based off how they walk in the day. If your boss walks in and they just focus, don't say hi to nothing, you kind of get the mindset of they're having a bad day and I'm not going to ask for my day off right now because he may say no, compared to another day when your boss may walk in and he's singing and stopping and conversating and, he has that mood and you can just feel it. And he's like, okay, this is the day that I should ask for something. Usually when he walks in feeling like this, he'll say, yes, pretty much. And, that goes with parents. You understand that based off your mom walking the house will determine, based off your mom's phone call before she got home will make you determine on what type of day she was having and what to expect when she got to the house and help you determine on how you should move. Definitely, if your mom was having a bad day, let me make sure my room is clean and I pull that chicken out the freezer and it's de-thawed, because last thing I want to do is continue to catch this wrath that, obviously she has going on, So, I kind of just want to share that mindset of paying attention to your competition, watch and see what they're doing, understanding their game plans and seeing how you can adjust your game plan to adjust to their game plan. And then that's going to lead me to the second part when, it's not just a competition you need to pay attention to. You also need to pay attention to your team. You need to understand how your team does stuff and how the players on your team all, work with each other, playing basketball as well. The homie Mario, shout out King Lou. Mario was a shooter, and you're gonna let a shooter shoot. So 9 out of 10 times, if I pass the ball to Mario while he's on top of the key, I knew my job was either to throw a screen or get ready for the rebound. Usually I'll do both. I'm not going to try to go open and get a 3-pointer because Mario knows that's not my MO. I'm not one to shoot threes. And then I know it's not his MO to drive to the basket as hard as possible, So, me understanding how he plays helps me adjust my game to make the team a lot better. And that goes with football too. I played football for many years and, I had to learn how Jordan plays. Jordan was the free safety. I was the corner. And I had to learn how he plays and what he adjusts to and, find out the things that he sees and he doesn't see, because I played a lot of linebacker as well. So I was able to, read the line a lot better than he was, but he was a quarterback. So he could understand how to read the receivers a lot better than I could because, he throws to the receivers and understands how to play them, Same thing on offense. We used to walk on the field because I was a wide receiver. We used to walk on the field and I could tell what he was thinking based on how the defense would line up. And we'll just do a quick look at each other and a quick head nod and we'll be on the same page, But that comes from years of synergy, years of learning each other and seeing how we play and how we adjust to each other. And, that goes into playing Apex with the bros, like we haven't played in a while, but when we did play, I understood how we play. Fernando's gonna sit back and snipe. Gerald's gonna push any fight that he sees. Me and Donovan, we're more conservative. We can flex and flip between both ways, but I'm sure he understood that I'm going to try to supply the team while he's going to try to, get the team defensive plays, and it all goes into play and understanding your team. And then, when you get in the fight, seeing what your competition is doing, if you're seeing they're throwing a lot of grenades or something like that, or, they're shooting a lot in one direction, there's probably somebody flanking you. So you might need to pay attention and keep your eyes up, because that's what normal teams usually do, So, that's what today's conversation is. Know thy enemy, understand thy team, understand what other people are doing to help better your game. Because if you can understand what others are doing to help better your game, shoot, who knows what you can do. You can almost be unstoppable. You can really help your team out at a whole nother level. So, yes, that's just the start of it. I know I missed some stuff, and that's why we're about to bring 1-3 onto the mic so he can share the rest of it and wrap this amazing episode up. So now I'm about to pass the microphone to Mr. 1-3. 1-3, go ahead and drop something hot for the fellas and ladies and gents out there.
For everyone. Yo, it's Mr. 1-3 back at it again. I just want to expand on what Adrian was talking about, because there's a lot of good nuggets in there, and I feel like I'm able to provide like a little bit more non-sports aspect of knowing the enemy and your team, just because I'm not really a sports person in general. Also, excuse me if my voice is a little messed up right now or raspy. My throat just doesn't feel good. I feel good, but my throat doesn't feel good. But anywho, but one thing I do want to, emphasize is just take your time and watch how the game is being played in general. Something Adrian always kind of pointed out to me was that I always watch a lot of gameplay for the games that I like to play. He kind of didn't see the point of it like back in the day when I was younger, and in a sense there was no point because I was just watching people play video games. But that transferred to when I wanted to get into more competitive games, just to see how people would operate with certain characters, for like my character or somebody else's, so I can understand habits. So when I'm being put in those positions, I can kind of detail what to expect. And now I don't have to figure out the character and the player. Now I can just focus on figuring out the player. Which brings me into my next point, and I kind of want to focus on the team aspect as of right now, just because I've been playing team-based games with the boys, mainly Overwatch, but understanding like team synergy, not just with characters, but with people's play styles. And that's why I do enjoy playing games with comms so much, just because we can actually communicate effectively just between us, and in a sense we can kind of carry the team depending on how the match is going. One of the things is like Fernando, in a sense. When I play with Fernando, similar to what Adrian said, he's kind of in the back sniping, but in this game, since it's a little bit more closed, like, it's a little bit more dynamic in such a closed space compared to Apex, he's able to flex a lot, and I know he can hit shots. I know he can hit shots to take out an enemy player to help us gain like a better advantage. So let me pump him up with heals in the back, and then also like let me also bring down some people's health. So if I tap one person, bring him down to half health, I know he can finish him off if necessary, and I'll keep him up while doing so. In the sense for Gerald, he plays more of like a tank role, so he's up in the front lines, and from watching him, I know he likes to go in a lot, maybe by himself and things like that, and I've learned to trust him to do so, while also communicating like, hey, I need you to turn back if necessary. But if I see him just going in as a certain character, I'm gonna use my ultimate to make sure he's empowered while going in, so I can focus on healing the rest of the team while he's doing his thing, or even assisting him so I can make sure none of the enemy team can get healed. But I can only know this just by watching and understanding my team and actually communicating with them as well, which is so very important. And you can bring this into your like everyday life when it comes to your job. I know when I was working at the bank, each one of us, even though we were in different roles, we still had different strengths that we can lean on each other for. Like my work auntie, like she was always good with getting transactions quick and easy. So if I had like a customer and I just opened up a new account with them and I needed to put some money in there that they gave me, I know I can go to my auntie to get like a quick and easy transaction, especially if she's not busy. I knew who to go to for knowledge. My old coworker Cindy, she great universal banker at the time, and I could come to her with any question, and then she would usually help me out or guide me in a teaching way, and I could trust her to always teach me something new. And that's important because now there's a certain vibe in there that, you know, we can keep the flow easy. And I think our bank specifically was notorious for just having like a good teamwork flow, not too much drama between the employees or anything like that. We just came in, even though if it was a bad day, busy day, a good day, chill day, we knew we was getting work done in a cohesive manner. And then I also think it's important to really, I mean, it should be, you know, obvious, but take the time to really get to know your partner in like a relationship sense. Like, understand their likes and dislikes. For recently, I just got into a relationship and I understand what type of music she likes. So, you know, I know if she's having like a down day, or, you know, if I just want to make her smile in the morning, I'll know what type of songs to send her. Just because we listen to music so much together and we have different styles, I've been understanding her flavor. So whenever I just happen to listen to something and I'm like, oh, that makes me think of her, I'll give it to that. Or I know that she has a certain diet, so when it comes to her coming over for studying and things like that, and my parents are cooking something, like I can tell them like, hey, she's coming over, what kind of ideas we can do to kind of accommodate her, especially since she's coming to a family wedding of mine. I asked if she could have some type of accommodation, but it's just like knowing your partner and knowing what makes them tick, knowing what makes them upset, and how to best support them. And that's just very important. Now, when it comes to your enemies, I kind of want to take it back to when I was saying I watched a lot of gameplay of the competitive games that I would play, just so I can understand the opponent's point of view when they're playing like a certain character. Let me see. For example, bringing back for Fernando, we've been playing this game called Rivals of Ether 2, and even as I'm playing him, I'm just watching his habits, and I have to do that in live time. Or if he happens to be stream, I'll watching him stream, but understanding his habits and what he likes to do. And I know he does the same thing to me because he stuffs me out in certain situations based off of my habits, but I'm also able to capitalize by just being a little bit more patient and capitalizing off of his mistakes. And this just kind of goes back and forth. But if I didn't pay attention to his habits and understanding what he's trying to go for with his specific character, then, you know, I'm not going to be able to adapt and come out on top. And it helps me even further by watching Rivals of Ether 2 gameplay on YouTube. If I see somebody playing his character, I'm going to sit down and watch that match just to see what they're doing, to possibly see what Fernando will do based off of just his playstyle. And this just gives me a huge advantage because now in my head, I'm already ready for certain situations. And how to react with them with my character, because now I'm formulating ideas of how to counter that. But with that all said, I think this just applies to sports everywhere and things like that. Not only can you just watch film from like another game that they're playing, but you can also keep track of how they're playing in the moment. And that's where I feel like the true winners are. If you're prepared before the match and then you can adapt to the situation during the match, then you will most likely be able to come on top. And that goes the same for your team. Understanding how they're feeling when they're stepping onto the court, the field, or the match in general. Being able to, give them a shoulder if they need it, or trusting them that they can give a shoulder to you if you're needing it and things like that. And that just helps with the synergy overall. But that's all I have to say. I just hope you enjoyed the episode. You know where to reach us. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always hit us up on IG, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Or you can email us at jkspodcast702@gmail.com. And with that, I hope you have a blissful morning, a strategic afternoon, and a headstrong evening. And remember to just keep swimming. Bye.